Happy 1st of November, ladies and gentlemen, Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily market update. And as always, if you are new around here and finding yourself on my channel for the first time today, don't forget to check out that subscribe button because we drop an update just like this one around 1 p.m. UK time every single day to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening in the crypto space, but also the broader markets. And that is exactly what we are intending on doing during this daily market update. We're going to be starting things off with a October 2024 report from the infamous JP Morgan that are bullish on digital assets as a whole going into 2025. Then we're going to be looking at some remarks from who could become this month the President of the United States, Donald Trump, talking about we will make America and Bitcoin bigger, better, stronger, richer, freer, and greater than ever before. It's very interesting. It's an exceptionally exciting time to be alive, I believe, in regards to the fact that we are going to see a new monetary system that is likely going to involve many of the old monetary system components move in a kind of internet of value, new financial system-esque world. We're moving towards that, and distributed ledgers are going to play a key part in that. We're going to be looking at some news from MetaPlanet, which of course have become kind of almost like a micro strategy in regards to their approach to buying Bitcoin. They are now the best performing stock year to date in Japan, just like MicroStrategy is the best performing asset in the S&P 500. It's offered the greatest return. And ultimately, this is solely largely due to their sort of interest or increase in Bitcoin holdings. And then, of course, we have non-farm payrolls came out today. The job number is kind of shocking. The real question is, how is this going to affect the dollar and thus the cryptocurrency markets? And I just want to say this before we dive into everything. There's a real kind of fatigue, I think, as it relates to cryptocurrency investors right now. Certainly the altcoin market, due to the kind of low interest, choppy nature of it. Altcoins are very volatile. They can move tens of percents a day. And ultimately that causes a lot of fatigue and kind of tiredness and I guess frustration when it comes to the space. However, there are truly amazing things happening, and we're going to share one of those with you this morning. And this came out on the 11th of October, 2024. And this, of course, is, and you can see on the right here, from JP Morgan. This tweet was highlighted by Smoke, somebody you should definitely be following over on Twitter, certainly if you're interested in XRP and other assets such as that. And October 2024, JP Morgan Global Market Strategy reports we are bullish on digital assets into 2025. The bull run is here. The world's largest bank is officially putting their conviction behind crypto for the next year. Happy November 1st, ladies and gentlemen. Happy November 1st to you as well. Let's take a look at what this report says. It says digital assets. And the first note is we are bullish on digital assets into 2025. Apart from the emergence of what some have termed the debasement trade, isn't it interesting now how not just a BlackRock giving out reports and doing seminars where they're highlighting the US dollar and its loss of value, debasement against the likes of Bitcoin and ultimately proposing it as a key component of an individual's portfolio. You now have JP Morgan, who have previously came out, certainly Jamie Dimon, very against Bitcoin, now releasing their company reports such as this. So some have termed the debasement trade, which benefits both digital assets and gold. We did a video, an interview with Francis Hunt yesterday, well worth a watch if you're interested in the topic of macro, if you're interested in the topic of reset, if you're interested in not just Bitcoin, but kind of anti-fiats like gold and silver also, and the space more broadly, do go and give that a watch. We find additional reasons to be bullish around digital assets. A recent announcement by traditional wealth advisors to allow recommending spot Bitcoin ETFs to their clients, the bulk of liquidations of in-kind crypto payments from Mt. Gox and Genesis bankruptcy, along with German government selling their Bitcoin stack, are likely behind us. And the cash repayment, $16 billion, ladies and gentlemen, from FTX bankruptcy towards the end of the year, beginning of 2025, could partly reinvest into the cryptocurrency space. Now, we've highlighted this, but the fact that JP Morgan themselves are highlighting it, I think, is something of extreme importance. And things take time. The markets are exceptionally good at taking from the impatient and giving to the patient. It was Warren Buffett who said that, one of the greatest investors of all time. He's been largely wrong on Bitcoin thus far. But this is pretty huge. This is, in my opinion, a massive step forwards. And it's not just JP Morgan, it's all of the investment advisors, institutions, governments are now very much on board with Bitcoin and the crypto space more broadly. And on the topic of that, this month we have the US elections, which is going to be a great sigh of relief on the back end of. That's likely going to spur markets on in line with how election cycles typically play into the markets. They align with 4-year cycle for Bitcoin. They align with global liquidity cycles. We have Mr. Trump himself saying we will make America and Bitcoin bigger, better, stronger, richer, freer, and greater than ever. Let's listen to this because this is somewhat surreal.
We will make America and Bitcoin bigger, better, stronger, richer, freer, and greater than ever before. Thank you all. Have a good time with your Bitcoin and your crypto and everything else that you're playing with. And we're going to make that one of the greatest industries on earth. Good luck and God bless you all. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
Somewhat surreal, really, when you think about the kind of evolution of Bitcoin and how it's ended up at this sort of point. Something unbelievable is happening, and it's going to affect every single person, whether you're into crypto or you're not into crypto. The actual changing of value and how we perceive it and what forms of value are is currently being undertaken. Let's talk about some other pretty interesting news, and this is relevant to the Bitcoinization of corporations due to the kind of micro-strategy effect. I wouldn't say Bitcoin effect, but micro-strategy effect. Justin, Metaplanet has been the best performing stock year to date in Japan. The Bitcoin effect, and you can see Metaplanet's returns. Again, this is largely all on the back end of Bitcoin, and are we going to see other individuals go from holding cash on their balance sheets? And this has always been something, and we're going to a conference at the end of this next week, where there are going to be speakers talking about the kind of financialization of Bitcoin. Are we going to see more follow in Metaplanet and MicroStrategy's footsteps? I believe so, because it makes sense for them to hold Bitcoin, which ultimately is part of what JP Morgan sort of termed that debasement trade throughout. And we're at the sort of first innings, not even the first innings, the beginning of the race in regards to Bitcoin, but crypto more broadly. And I do see a future where actually cryptocurrencies really start to outshine Bitcoin. And I don't think we're too far off that. Today, of course, you had non-farm payroll. Let's go over to the actual number. You can see it down here. What a miss. This is probably the worst miss I've seen. So the expectations were 106,000. The prior one blew expectations out of the water, and this one was 12,000. Unbelievable. US economy added just 12,000 jobs in October, impacted by hurricanes and Boeing strike. Non-farm payroll increased by 12,000 for the month, down sharply from September, below the Dow Jones' estimate of 100,000. The unemployment rates remained unchanged, which is important. The BLS noted that Boeing strikes likely subtracted 44,000 jobs in the manufacturing sector, while hurricanes also likely held back the total. Revisions, however, previously reported job creation totals by 112,000 for August and September combined. So a massive sort of downgrade. Yeah, this is the worst jobs report that we've had in a hell of a long time. And the interesting thing is we've been dealing with a lot of dollar strength on the back end of what was a good report. And a repricing ultimately of what that means for monetary policy and thus interest rates and thus global liquidity more broadly. And of course, that leans on assets. When the dollar is strong, typically that leans on assets. We haven't seen that so much. Actually, assets have been making headway during this dollar strength. And I think that's because ultimately they understand what's coming more broadly. And that is the dollar finding its way to the lower band of this channel, which should increase global liquidity, which is inversely correlated, and of course, Bitcoin. On the topic of crypto, it's really not bad news at all. In fact, ETFs are going on buying sprees. Just yesterday, I believe, or the day before yesterday, and we reported on it yesterday, IBIT saw the largest inflows to date. And now, US ETFs alone own 1 million Bitcoin. There's only 21 million in existence. How many of that is actually accessible? There's a great story going on here, and ultimately institutions are going to use Bitcoin to their favor. And you either choose to get on that trade or you don't. There's a lot of earnings going on this week. We did say expect volatility, but ultimately we did think it was going to result to the upside. The main thing that the crypto markets need to overcome now is, of course, the US elections. This is broken out. This is triggered and is now on its way to broader targets to the upside. And it's just a case of believing in the process. I think a very interesting thing that we did yesterday was we actually looked at Grayscale's digital large cap product and how this has now broken out and triggered a broader pattern which tracks a basket of altcoins, which is ultimately bullish for the space as a whole. And we looked at the fundamental drivers of this product doing well on the back end of the same thing that saw the Bitcoin, the GBTC price get made in regards to a target that we had met March this year. Obviously, we were looking at this at the start of 2023. The altcoin sector shall rise, and this is all correlated or coinciding with Bitcoin's sort of next leg to the upside, in my opinion. There's going to be chop and volatility. The crypto space is very good at sort of losing dead weight in regards to investors because it plays a more tiresome game in regards to the volatility being unstomachable for many. However, we do think that ultimately Bitcoin is now on its journey to the upside, and that should see altcoins really inflate against it, in our opinion, just like we saw going into March of this year. So the picture is a very positive one. Extremely interesting news in regards to JP Morgan. Again, I wanted to replay that clip of Trump talking about Bitcoin, America and Bitcoin. It's surreal, really, isn't it? And of course, he's definitely appealing to a voter class there. Also, we had news in the form of Metaplanet, and it's a broader indication that the Bitcoinization and the Bitcoin effect is a real one, and we're ultimately going to see more corporations look to embark on that journey. Certainly, as the likes of BlackRock are now pushing it as a sort of investment vehicle. Non-farm payroll report today was extremely interesting. And again, we'll keep you up to date on a daily basis, guys. So that's it from me. If you're not already subscribed, do consider becoming one. And on that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks for watching, guys. See you all in the next one.